Whoa, now, what's up, world? I'm back with another one on the real quick flip. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually gonna, to the best of my ability, I'm gonna expound to y'all with as much detail as possible, and this will be somewhat like a testimony, right? To the grace and mercy of the Most High. I'm gonna tell you about the time I broke my neck. Now it'd be kind of hard for me to tell these stories because they're all kind of interwoven, like spaghetti noodles in a bowl. So it'd be kind of, at least from my opinion, I don't think I'm getting better with it as far as just telling the story kind of with a nice flow Joe like the Nile River. But I and here's one thing: when God's hand is on your life, regardless of, it says He shows His grace and mercy on so whom He choose. And I got about 1,000 stories of this, but this was the one He used to kind of break me down to build me back up because I actually just got out of jail. Not for something. Well, eh, I didn't go to jail for what I went to jail for. Like you pull up on case search if it's not expunged by now. But I went to jail for not being the greatest judge of character. And I'm not really at that time. I definitely wasn't the most judgmental individual. And I'm thinking, if I ain't gonna do nothing to these people, why would they do something to me? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the realest Negro. Negroes know if you let me tell it. But I ended up first, and I'll cover this later, or in another video of how my shawty had passed away from cancer, and that kind of uh, funnels me into how I ended up breaking my neck. So she had passed like 3 months prior. Um, During this time, it was like the Lord allowed the devil to throw everything at me, including the kitchen sink. You know what I'm talking about? So I went to jail for this woman, basically with no evidence, but because of prior record or whatever. Like she just kept lobbing charges on me. It was so bad that me and the Anne Arundel County Sheriff was on a first name basis. I said, man, cuz not another one. Not another one, Bill. Yeah, man, I got another one, man. So I keep going to jail for it. But I'm only doing like weekends. I think she got me one time for like 60 days. And Anne Arundel, you do like every day you work is a day off. So I was like home like 45. So I came home this particular time. I think I still have some more to go. But I think I had to do like a couple weekends or something. And I come home and it was Father's Day weekend, so I'm partying with the folk. You know what I'm saying? The folk from the Glen Burnie area who I had to distance myself from. Cause I just saying, they wasn't really who they said they were. And I seen flashes of it in their behavior or certain things they would say, but you know, see, I understand this now. When I'm drinking or smoking weed, in reality, what it does, it lowers my vibration for me to connect with other people. Because I do have this deep desire to connect with others, right? Um, so I get out, I think it was Father's Day weekend, so I'm partying with the folk. I was still waterproofing basement, so my boss owed me a check from before I went in and got that. So I'm back on deck. Now, mind you, just like I said in another video, you make all these plans when you locked up, get up, and the plan just go out the window, right? So I plan to do X, Y, Z, but I'm right back to the right back. You know what I'm saying? So I guess God was like, he ready to go right down the same. Let me stop him in his tracks, before in the present, so he don't destroy his future, and so he can see who I'm is. So this particular night, now mind you, my shoulder had passed away. So I think I was still kind of like my reality had kind of fractured, like which actually broke me out of having casual sex because the connection between like I'm a different type of Negro. So I'm not used to people just getting me or understanding me or me having to not having to overly explain myself and why I think the way I think or why I do what I do, right? So she just understood a cat. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, which actually made me want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, dang, you understand me? Come here, mwah, 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 mwah. You know what I'm saying? So she had passed away from cancer, and there's a whole backstory behind that. But I think my reality was fractured. I'm like, it it didn't seem real. Like, how was someone not physically on earth who's still alive in my heart? You see what I'm saying? So it broke me out of having casual sex because for a couple years I just wasn't with it. You know what I'm saying? And then when I was kind of old, like, okay, Cal, let's move on. It's been a couple years now. What I was seeing in the proverbial dating pool was so whatever. It's almost now. I'll use the analogy of like, say you start smoking weed and then you start smoking loud, right? That Zah or what? I don't think Zah was out then. And then which ended up happening during this time period. And the loud put you where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? It do you right. But then let's say it's no laugh or whatever, and you go back because you smoke weed, and then you smoke regular weed or whatever they got out there that's not loud. It make you mad. You know what I'm saying? It don't get you where you need to be. You don't feel it. So much so, rather than smoke and be mad, you rather just not even smoke at all. So that's what kind of happened as far as me dating, is just seeing how females was moving, and from the outside looking, I'm like, God darn, you know what I'm saying? So I guess out of jail, whatever. I partied the whole weekend. I'm ready to shut it down, get back to work, So I leaves from the neighbor's home, which is around the corner from where I lived at the time. And I crossed this highway 1,000 times. And this particular night, I stuck my key in the door and I seen a billboard, which it ain't no billboard there. I was just so uplifted. In my mind, I seen a box of chicken. I know, right? It's crazy. Seen a box of chicken and said, man, I'm gonna get me some chicken. Then I'm gonna go in the house. And that's all I remember. The next memory, I vaguely remember this. I vaguely remember the ambulance people, I'm assuming at that time, asking me what was wrong. And I said I was cold and my neck hurt. And then I went back out. Oh, I do remember them asking me had I been drinking. And I had enough sense to tell them no. Like when they asked Martin where he get the ooh wee from, and he sobered up real quick. Said, man, I can't tell you that. I'm on the doorstep of death, but I got enough sense to tell them I wasn't drinking. So I vaguely remember that. But when I do, fully come back to it, I don't know if they gave me something, but I snapped back in, and I'm in shock trauma in Baltimore, and they're telling me broke my neck, because I got hit by a car, and there's a good chance I may not make it out to surgery. And if I do make it out, there's a real good chance I'll be paralyzed. So true story. So I'm looking at the concern. I can see the concern in the eyes of my family members, you know what I mean? So I gave them the verbal authorization to do what they do. I closed my eyes and said, God, it's up to you. And I went back to sleep. When I woke up, then I knew I got hit by a car. Oh, man, boy, my neck felt like a tree trunk. Oh, man, that was a rough road back, boy. That was a rough road back. But according to the ambulance people, when they got to me, now mind you, here's where like this divine timing and magic comes into play, right? It seemed like magic, because this particular night it was dark when I got hit. And this particular night, I just so happened to be having on all black, but yet somehow the people across the street at the CVS saw me laying in the road. It was amazing how I didn't get hit by another car. You know what I'm saying? When the ambulance people, I read this later on, when the ambulance people got to me, they said that I had absolutely no vital signs. And the way they wrote it in the ambulance report, they said once they started like fumbling around, I guess to load me up, they said miraculously, and that's the verbiage they used, miraculously, I started babbling. So, I got hit by the car, you know what I'm saying? So now my world is obliterated. Now I understand how my shawty felt when she was in the hospital. However, I'll segue into that slightly. She never told me how sick she was. My spidey sense started tingling about a month before she was actually ready to pass away. Because before that, I wasn't like, I don't know if he shielded me from thinking this, or like I never thought, because she had beat it the first time. So now I'm like, what? Now I can't waterproof. Now I can't make no money. You know what I mean? Now I'm dependent on people. And then when there's a perception of weakness or you need people, then you'll see how people truly feel about you. So, and then ironically, like I broke my neck up by my brainstem. They had to take, what they do? They had to take bone out of my hip and fuse C1 to C2 and C2 to C3. According to them, the vertebrae or whatever that's called, that was attaching my spinal cord to my brainstem was hanging on by a thread. And here's where God's grace, like now, and maybe various stories, I'll tell that another time. I've gone through these near-death, gut-wrenching experiences. But if you see me now, you can't even tell. Other than every now and again, my neck is stiff, but I don't have no pain or nothing like that. And that's been over 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But he had to do that to give me a new life. But this isn't no quick transition. But I did, however, heal up like Wolverine. I had to go down, physical therapy and all that. I'm like, man, this is whack. I can do this home. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and here's how, and then I'll segue to this. Like, I never knew anything about like opioid pills, nothing like that, 'cause I'm not a pill popper. Um, so I fought it off. I think they gave me oxycodone or something, like 10 milligrams or whatever. So I'd heard about it, but I'm like, I don't want to get hooked on this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a soldier. I'm gonna fight through it. But it's kind of, now I could move, like I'm not paralyzed, but when your neck is like, you ain't really got no whole bunch of motion. So I'm just laid on the bed. So I'm like, I fought it off for probably about a day and a half. I said, man, you gotta give me something, man. So I go and hit the little buzzer, they give me the jump. Now, mind you, I don't know what to expect. So I'm like, so I take the pills. I'm like, man, this shit ain't nothing. Like, man, this gonna be a long road back. So I'm just sitting there watching TV. 5 minutes pass. A thought popped in my head and said, yo, you know what, Calvin? Everything gonna be all right, yo. 5 minutes later, I'm asleep. I planned my day out around them pills. And I was taking them as prescribed, but not realizing I was getting physically addicted. So I don't realize this. Now, mind you, time proceed on. You know, I'm moving around a little bit. I still got the neck brace. I had the neck brace on like 3 months. So I took the pills as long as I had the neck brace on. Because it's kind of hard to go to sleep with something strapped around your neck. So when they took the joint off, I stopped taking them. Shit, I'm free. But then I noticed something. I couldn't take a nap. For as long as I was taking them pills, that's how long it took me to get back on a regularly scheduled sleep pattern. Oh, man, it was miserable, bro. On top of all the stuff I was dealing with. And I still had court dates. And I'm going to court in a neck brace and I'm still getting convicted. And the woman talking about, I'm afraid of him. I said, Judge, how's she afraid of me? I can't even move. I can't even turn my head. Little kid can beat me up right now. But you just said I'm guilty of whatever. Because she talking about she's scared of the man who can't turn his neck. Take that one on the chin. Then I had to go to, let me give y'all this one. So eventually, it was a hit and run accident, and during this time, this was April of 2013. Anne Arundel County made national news for all, and I fell into the line of, they had all these fatal hit and run accidents, and I fell in the line of that. So the girl who actually hit me, miraculously, she dips during the initial incident, but then turns herself in a week later with alcohol in her system. I guess her conscience got to her. Okay, cool, boom, whatever, right? So I go to court for her. I get court papers, whatever. I see the name, and in my mind, when I see the name, I'm envisioning like a little white girl. Come to find out, what I envisioned was what she looked like. So I see her down in Annapolis courthouse. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, I got part of the plan, so I ain't got no animosity. She see me crying, I hug her, it's all right. I guess her homegirls with her, we all hug, woo woo. Man, I guess in court, they were so enamored with this girl crying, they totally forgot the girl down there killed me. Do you realize she got away with a slap on the wrist? But before they did that, they excused me from the court. I said, wow. The judge and all them up there hugging her. Mind you, I'm the one with PTSD. I'm the one having these nightmares. I'm the one can't sleep. I'm the one need counseling. Then it was a whole wild thing. I had to get a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? And then the lawyer we got, because I couldn't really facilitate anything on my behalf at that time, was from down here, but he never worked on my case because he was going to be the judge. I found that out later on. Like I had other people trying to like insert themselves into my lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? I had people trying to profit off my pain and suffering, but won't nobody help me do nothing. Oh, then my mammies, you know what I'm talking about? That was a rough one there. Bad nightmare, can't sleep. Then I finally start coming outside. The same homebot that now they doing like they saying little slick stuff under their breath, or you know what I'm saying? Like almost like they was happy that I was in this state. You know what I'm saying? I'm peeping. I'm like, what? So here's where the fight back come in at. Cause I mean, I'm kind of, easygoing guy for the most part until I feel boxed in the corner. And I ain't got nothing to lose no way, so what's happening? So now I start exhibiting violence. um I actually had a situation where, I'm feeling a little more comfortable, but I still got the neck brace on. And they invite me to go to the bar. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go out just to get out. You know what I'm saying? People, what I mean? I'm a decent dude, other than drinking or whatever, but I don't treat nobody bad or nothing. And we actually left the bar with some young ladies and a couple dudes from the bar. We back around our way drinking. And the dude said something to my homeboy's uncle. And he told him, shut the F up. And as soon as he did that, in a neck brace, I leapt across the table and stole it. Now I'm ready for, no, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know, I didn't even think, I just, man, who we thought, you know what I mean? But now I started exhibiting these, what would I call it? I wouldn't say violent tendencies, but because of this life threatening situation, it started making me hyper vigilant. Like, you can say something, but now I'm reading your tone, your voice inflection, the octave. Like, I can pull, like, I started being able to pull out people's intent behind what they say. You know how somebody, hey, what's up, cuz? And I'm like, oh, he's speaking. Or like, what's up, cuz? You know, that's more like what's up? What you want to do? You know what I mean? So I started fighting with a nut burst on. And my mind, you know, I'm back in the corner. If the car ain't killed me, what you think you finna do? And I done lost the love of my life, and I can't work, and I ain't got no money. Man, you better leave me unless you talking some real deal Holyfield stuff out of love, and then I start crying. All that slick stuff out your mouth for who you think you is. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? But that was a deeply, deeply vexing and depressing situation. Now I understand them brothers who be on the street corner back in the day, 60s, 70s, and they saying, since I lost my baby, with they homeboys, and they passing the yak back and forth, just trying to sing up. I understand them brothers, man. Yo, during that time period, I cried every day for a year and some change. I've been through stuff, but I ain't never known no pain like that, yo. Like Kanye said in that one verse, I lost the only woman in the world that know me best. I'm like, wow. I said, God darn. Yo, I used to go through anxiety attacks thinking it was so much on, and I still had court dates. I said, my heart just gonna stop, yo, right now, yo. What's the point of keep going? Yo, it was crazy, yo. But by the grace of God, day by day, somehow I made it. I made it through it, you know what I'm saying? At least, now, I got the scar on the back of my neck. But I can operate, I can function, but I still can't function because now I'm carrying all this pain and grief and how people did me, but I still kind of got to fool with them to a degree. And I seen the move, it didn't work, but I got to kind of play like everything all right to a degree. But now I know I'm surrounded by vultures and wolves. And these were the same people, when the shoe was on the other foot, I either, helped them or protected them or gave them money or whatever. It was ill will in the battlefield. But part of my vexing was I was trying to fight back to get back to an old life and mentality that had been obliterated and wouldn't serve me in the future. That's why it took me so long. You know what I'm saying? Just holding on. That's one of the hardest things to break is an outdated identity or ego that is fighting to survive that don't serve you no good. That was an amazing time period. But I wouldn't be who I am and I wouldn't have certain spiritual insights had that not happened. So I guess all things do work for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. It just, you just can't see it at the time. He got to walk you through it. So time proceed on. I was broke so long, I forgot what money looked like, yo. Then eventually, I actually end up getting paid. So now, of course, I got all these plans. But again, now my plan, because I got all this money, is to create new experiences to overwrite the old ones that are deeply painful, which is basically drinking, going here, funny, a whole bunch of frivolous, superficial stuff that was of no purpose or value. And do that so much so, in 6 months, I find myself homeless. After having close to about $70,000. And then now everybody really don't know me. They laughing. Well, they ain't doing it in my face, but I can feel it. Ain't nobody pulled me up. Hey, Cal, you think you should go to rehab? Or ain't nobody, everybody who had their hand out wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? Because I would flash out with violence here and there. I cuss them out. I was cussing them people out every day. You know what I'm saying? Which was true. I just did it in the wrong spirit. Yes, sir. You got to get this good tongue lasher. And then when people think you drunk, they people you ain't on point, which you're not really on point to the degree you think you on point. But they be thinking you don't remember shit. Or, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I remember. And here, let me run it back to you. And then that'll scare him. Like, darn, I thought he was in a stupor. How he remember all that? Because I had to remember for survival. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how your brain operates if it's in a survival mode. Like, I can recall conversations I had with people 6 months ago verbatim and run it back to him. That dude I told, when he said something slipped to me, and I told him I was going to yank the steering wheel and we can crash into the tree and see who survived. Before that, he had told me, he said, man, you got to be careful of the man who remember every single conversation you done had with him since the day you met him. So I do that whole number. I'm homeless, right? And this is where the Hosea 3 thing kicked in. Now, I was homeless, but I didn't really look homeless. I didn't really operate like I was homeless in the sense of like standing with a sign and all that. That's a little too much for me. I can't do that. But he led me to basically like a utility room in a apartment complex. And I lived in there for about a year, yo. But nobody ever saw me. At least I don't think so. So I could come in, you know, whenever I need to duck in and lay down on a piece of cardboard on a concrete floor. And I'd duck out in the morning for everybody to start going to work. And the vast majority of my day was spent just going to different churches and stuff, getting something to eat. Because I ain't doing I can't work. I ain't even thinking about working. How? Like, and I'm still reeling from everything that done happened. And they say the pain of losing money is actually greater than the pain of winning money. Like, if you win $1 million, the pain or the joy of that pales in the comparison to the joy of losing $1 million. You know what I'm saying? But it seemed like, and I read this in a book somewhere during this time period, and this is actually, it seemed like God got off his throne and dealt with me personally. And I ain't gonna say no, let me deal with my boy personally. And even though I'm going through all this pain and loss and shame and humiliation and whatever. Here's the first two things he did. He turned the mirror around on me and showed me. And showed me how I wasn't taking care of my child or how my priorities were out of place. And then that was on top of what I was already dealing with. I said, man, I'm really lump out here. Then he dealt with forgiveness. So then I had to forgive the same people who had effed me over. Even though I allowed him and he showed me signs, I just disregarded it. I said, man. And I couldn't get out of it. Because I think I'm smart. So I've been home before, but I can get out of it, whatever. Or refix my situation. Everything I tried with the little bit of mustard I had left wasn't working. And at this point, I ain't about living with no woman or, you know, selling drugs or hitting nobody over the head. So I said, man, I just gotta sit in it, and I don't know when I'm getting out of this. Ever. But it ended up being the catalyst for me eventually going into rehab. And then, you know, going to Baltimore and having that whole season. Technically, prior to August of 22, I had damn near been out of commission for 7-8 years. I seen people go to jail, come home and shoot past me. I'm like, yo, what is I'm doing? Not realizing he was preparing me. He was showing me stuff I didn't know I would need later. He was teaching me to be resourceful. He was teaching me true faith. He was teaching me patience. He was teaching me endurance. All the stuff I utilize now. But had that not happened, I wouldn't be the man. I wouldn't have the experiences I got. I wouldn't have the spiritual insight and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have a healthy fear. You know what I'm saying? They say fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom and knowledge. Certain stuff that they doing ain't in my heart. And I know how to do it. But I'm not going to do it. One, it ain't in my heart. Two, I know it ain't going nowhere. Or this is not anything that's going to be of any kind of lasting value. And three, after all the grace and mercy he done shown me, I don't want to get mad and turn and like, man, because he ain't going to let something happen. Like, he ain't going to just do it to me personally. If he just take away the hedge of protection, shoot, the wolves barking at the gate now. They just barking. I hear them. Well, I ain't stunting them, though. As long as I stay in line and confess my sins and operate a semblance of humility and, you know, pray earnestly and tell him how without his power I don't think I can stop smoking cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? And just be, like they say David did, just go before him butt naked. No ego, no, I got this, nah, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Naked we come in the world, naked we leave. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, sir. That's why I don't really need social groupings like that. Because they wasn't with me when I was shooting in the gym. Like, I spent about 40 days outside before I start, like, till I, oh, here's one. So look, right? So here's how I try to solve the problem. I said, yo, I'm gonna do something petty and get locked up and treat it like a rehab stint, yo. And I've been locked up in Anne Arundel County before. It ain't nothing to me. I know how to move and groove, whatever, whatever. So I went down to this diner and got me something to eat with no money. So when the bill come due, I tell the woman, I ain't got no money. You might well call the police, yo. And I'm cool, calm about it. She was like, nah, you all right. Don't even worry about it. I said, nah, call the police. Nah, I need to be arrested, yo. Yo, it was so crazy. I couldn't even get arrested. The police officer wouldn't even arrest me, yo. He told me where the homeless shelter was at. He said, nah, cuz. God said, nah, cuz, you got to feel this, bro. Ain't no way out till I let you out. Look, there was one time I'm at the homeless shelter, so they got little resources and stuff. So I applied to some type of, it was like a housing program or something. But it wasn't necessary for like alcohol or drugs per se. So I'm happy in the hole, right? So I Googles the spot. I'm well prepared. I leave super early. Typically when I got be somewhere I ain't never been, I leave super early. And normally I'm in the area an hour before I'm supposed to be there. And I might just chill. You know what I mean? I know, you know what I mean? I can't be late for this. A bed, yeah. Do you realize, bruh? I get there and I'm on my GPS and I can't find the spot, yo. But the spot is registering, but I don't see it. I'm like, yo, what the whoop the whoop? I'm like, man, I get so deflated. I go back in the spot, man. I goes back to my hole deflated. Then hops on the bus maybe a couple days later and see the spot. It was literally over the hill from where I was. But the road didn't show up on the GPS. Now you gotta feel this, cuz. I said, man, shucks. This is insane, bro. This is insane. Like, I got a good one for y'all. So before I actually wound up homeless, because, you know, they prescribe psychiatry and I said, man, nah, this is spiritual. I need some spiritual. So I started going to church. So they was, you know, telling me certain stuff and da-da-da. So I started going to prayer, Friday night prayer. But they had one in the morning. No, used to have prayer in the morning, but they had started prayer at night. And they did prophesy some stuff to me. So we meet that morning. They were like, yeah, just, you know, meet and greet, whatever. They would come back later on this evening. So I need a word from the Lord. So I'm kind of, you know, hopeful I'm going to hear something from the Lord. Went to the prayer. You know, they praying. I ain't trying to like, oh, what he say? You know what I mean? I'm just flowing with the spirit, which I don't really know how that look, what that mean. I'm just, you know, whatever, right? And at the end of the night, he was praying for some woman. And he turns to me and say, oh, God told me to tell you, not yet. We leave out. I go back to my hole, deflated. And I never forget, I land on that piece of cardboard. And a voice, not in my head, a voice like, it's hard to explain. Like, I heard it inside of myself, if that make any sense. And the voice said, trust me. And that was it. Which without faith is impossible to please God. But I'm like, what about, but that's all I got, trust me. And they say if you don't know what to do, just go back to the last thing he told you. But I remembered it, but I kind of forgot when I was going through my Baltimore experience, or just hard pressed on what I wanted to see happen, or why I gotta go through this, or why these people like this, why I can't, you know what I'm saying? But nothing ever really happened. As far as like fading me, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't want to put up with it. You know what I mean? Which is the same voice that I, like one time I was I think I just started going to high school, and I don't remember anything super crazy going on. But I just remember I used to dribble a basketball at night in the country in the dock. So I'm dribbling a basketball, and I'm like, man, I ain't made for this world, bro. I'm like, man, I don't belong here. I belong up there somewhere. And the same voice said, you're gonna do something great. I might have been 8th grade, 9th grade, something like that. That was the same voice. Which, if I get back to this story, or if I cover this story, the young lady that passed away. Now, this whole situation was a time in the making. I actually initially met her at the funeral of another female friend of mine, who I was platonic with, that had passed away. But they had all grown up together in this section of Anne Arundel County. So I come up from the Eastern Shore for the funeral. And and my partner say, you know, we're going to ride with his lady's best friend, who was at the time living in Georgia. Now, mine's just a funeral. This is kind of, because, you know, me and her was real tight. But I'm like, But I noticed her, but I ain't really on no, it's a funeral. I ain't trying to be one of them, bro. I would try to come up at the funeral. But I did, two things stuck out to me about her, which typically when something stuck out about a woman, it's something to it. Her eyes and her lips. So, later on, I go back to home base. I'm asking my partner about her while she's asking my partner, girlfriend, which they're best friends, about me. So that starts a whole, whatever, where we talk. And I don't like talking on telephone. But whenever I would talk to her, we'd be on the phone for like 3-4 hours. And the conversation would just flow. I'm like, yo, I ain't ran out of nothing to say yet. Like, wow, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Time proceeds on. I think I went to North Carolina initially. And that's when she first got cancer. I come back from North Carolina. Things happen. I think I covered this. The job falls apart. So I'm on my way back to North Carolina and got jammed up in front of the same young lady's mom's house. So now so then I call my foreman. I'm back on that. So I started calling her. And this is why I say divine timing. So when I tried to facilitate it, she wasn't biting. So I'm like, all right, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But one day I'm waiting for the truck to pick me up. Cause I waterproof basements at that time. And my partner had so happened to run out of gas. But she takes her kids past my house every day to school, unbeknownst to me. So I'm standing in front of the gas station, and and my partner like, yo, your people's in the car, and I knew he was referring to. I'm like, oh, all right. But because she wasn't really biting on my advice, I'm like, oh, all right. So I don't even go to the car. Truck picked me up. I rolls out. A couple days go by. But then this particular day I'm off. So I guess what happened, she went past the gas station and didn't see me standing out in front of that. So she calls me. So she was like, oh, I ain't seen you in front of the gas station. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm off today. So she was like, once I drop my kid off, can I come holler? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I ain't think nothing of it. It's like 7-something in the morning. We talking for a minute. She got to take her other kid to the other school. She tongued me down. I said, oh, I'm ready to score. So then she come by, we do what we do. Chill for a minute. She pick her kids up. She come back, we do what we do. But then I discovered in the process of us splacking, I actually enjoy being in her presence, which makes me want to splack more. And we cultivated this, deep connection that I think the Most High used in his sovereign plan. Because like I said, I'm not used to people or women kind of just getting me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a different type of Negro. But she just inherently understood her, bro. Like, couldn't nobody come up to her and say something about me? Because she's like, oh, yeah, that's what he do. Like, couldn't nobody sow no seeds of, you know what I mean? But then what happened was she ended up taking sick again. And I kind of felt partly to blame because we would drink, have great times, you know what I mean? Whatever. But I didn't realize that alcohol or cancer cells feed on alcohol, which turns into sugar. Well, cancer cells feed on sugar, rather. So she took sick again, and then ultimately, about 6 months, she had died. But then I come to discover that she had told everybody not to tell me. But I'm a real dude, though. And then when I seen the pictures after the passing and come to discover all that, it broke my heart. Like, I'd have been there. You know what I'm saying? I don't care nothing about that. Because yeah, it may be physically stuff, whatever. But ultimately, past that, that's why lust don't last long. Because you have to love the person. You know what I'm saying? Ironically enough, I felt it when she passed. Because it was the day after Christmas, which ended up being like 2 days, really. Because it was like 1 o'clock, the 27th or something. And I was out on town. My partner came in the crib. Now, at the time, I had some pictures of her on top of my dresser. And I come in, I'm tired, you know what I mean? So I cut the light off, lay down. Then I pop back up, cut the light back on, and I'm talking to these pictures. You know what I'm saying? Miss you, woo, woo, woo. I kiss the picture, lay down. I wake up the next morning, and my partner had called my daughter's mother's best friend, because I hooked them up at one point. So I was like, uh-oh. So I finally get in contact with him. So we exchanged a little small talk. So he's like, Cal, did you hear the news? So I'm like, nah, but I kind of got a feeling what you finna tell me. So just go ahead and lay it on me, cuz. So then he tells me she had passed early, that night, which ended up being like early morning, like 1 o'clock. I come to discover at the time I was talking to the picture was the exact time she had passed away, yo. I was like, wow. Now it's all the pieces. Like Hustle Man say, pick up the pieces. Don't let it be no Tuesday night and it's raining and I done cut on the music on the cable joint and Brian McKnight playing. Oh, boy. Man, my tears coming down harder than the rain. That's why people say they don't want love, man. You got to be crazy. Man, love is probably the greatest gift God can give when it's real. And I've experienced it. That's why I can't go for this wacky tack, whatever they call love out here now. That ain't no love. That was lust. That was codependency. You ain't caring nothing about that person. You were just more concerned what you was getting out of them. You know what I'm saying? That's what relationships seem to be now. Let me get max benefit, minimum effort. Let me see how much I can get out of you with doing the bare minimum as possible after the honeymoon phase. It's real on the battlefield. But that's just a little short. I did go a little bit, but that's a little short joint on my testimony. But here's the kicker though. If you were to see me now, talk to me, engage with me, be in my presence, you can't tell none of that stuff happened. Like the word said, he'll take you through the fire and you'll come on the other end. You won't even smell like smoke. And with that, I'm going to holler at y'all. Ooh,